Okay, so here we are with another episode of the Stories of My Life. Now, the last one went down very well, as did the one previous to that. Obviously, the last one, for those of you who watched it, will know that I was talking about when I sort of appeared on a camera in a department store stealing a CD, and I ended up going on to Britain's Dumbest Criminals, or whatever it was. I can't remember the name of the program. There was a lot of people who asked me and said, have you got any link to that footage? I can't find the program. I can't remember exactly the name of the program, but it was one of those type of dumb criminal programs. So yeah, but people found that quite amusing and enjoyed that. And obviously the one before was talking about steroids, which was a little bit darker. Now, if you haven't seen any of those, because people have been asking for the links to them videos, I'll pop both links below, and if you feel like going to watch it after this, feel free, it's there for you. But this one, obviously the title's quite dark to it, and it has got a humorous side to it, but yeah, it's sort of like a lesson in life for those of you who aren't that careful, and it's something that could potentially happen and nearly maybe happen to me, but all will become clear. I won't brush over that too much. So basically the story goes that one day I'd say about 15 years ago, when I think I was about in my 20s, very early 20s, 23 maybe, I used to play for a Sunday football team, and we were crap, we were terrible. We used to turn up on the Sunday all hungover from the night before, trying to kick a ball about and losing 10-11-0. But we were just there for the fun of it. We were all mates. We all wanted to have the, the social aspect of it. We didn't care whether we won or lost. It was just a barrel of fun to be kicking a ball about with your mates. And I was the class joke, I was the joke of the team, because I used to miss absolute sitters. Somebody passed me the ball, it'd be an open goal. I'd go to kick it and just trip over my own foot. So they loved me playing for the team because I used to give them that element of humour, because I was useless. But this one day I was just too hungover. I just could not play. So I phoned up the manager, who was a good friend of mine, and I said, it's not going to happen today. Forget it. If I go onto that pitch and start running about, I will be clinging onto the corner flag for dear life and vomiting everywhere. It's just not going to happen. Now, after the match, we all used to get to the same pub and have a few drinks and sort of catch up and take the piss out of each other, the usual camaraderie and banter that guys have. But I went there early, and it was sort of just opening, and I propped up the bar and had a few pints. Now, by the time everybody turned up, I was sort of halfway home, I'd had a good few beers, the CD player or jukebox or whatever you want to fucking call it was banging out some good music, and I was in the mood, I was sort of drinking away the hangover and going on to the next level. And then all of a sudden, about 2 hours later, 3 hours later, my friends all started bowling in one by one and started ordering their drinks. And as time passed, people started dropping like flies one by one. People were going home, back to their wives, back to their girlfriends for their Sunday dinner. And I was hardcore. I stuck it out. I thought, no, I'm going to be the last man standing again. And I carried on drinking. And eventually it was just me and one other guy who was also single. And we were just eyeing up the ladies and drinking some beers and playing a little bit of pool. And time passed and he went. He just had enough himself. So it was just me. Now, I was obviously on the pool table, and there was this bunch of guys that walked in and put their pounds on the side as if to say, I'm next. And they were like the English version of the Bloods and Crips. A bunch of black guys with gang colours on, and their hats really high off their head and their jeans practically around their ankles. So that was it. I started playing against them. Now, I'm not too bad at pool. It seems the more drunk I get, the better I get at pool. And I started to give these guys a bit of an ass kicking one by one, which wasn't really pleasing them, but, it is what it is. And as I was playing, every time I took a sip of my drink and I wanted to put it down, because I was close over to their side, I kept putting my drink next to them, which was a bad move. Now, this is the one golden rule I'm going to say about this to any young person who might be watching this commentary. Nowadays, do not let your drink out of your eyesight. Unless you've got really close friends who you absolutely trust, leave your drinks with them, or if you're going to the bathroom or going for a piss, take it with you. Do not leave it with a bunch of hoods. Big lesson to be learnt there, for me anyway. So, problem was, there's this mind blank from where I was playing pool, and then all of a sudden I woke up and I was in my bed, and it was Monday morning. And the weird thing about it was I actually felt amazing. I don't know why, but I just felt really good, as if I'd had a cracking sleep. And I thought, balls to it, I'm going to go into work today. I'm going to do it. It's pointless having a day off. I feel good. I wasn't expecting to feel this good. So I got on the bus and I went off to work. Now the weird thing was, all day I was thinking, what happened last night? Where did I go? How did I get home? And I couldn't piece the pieces of the puzzle together. It was bugging me. Now that's not normally like me. Normally I have little shades of moments where I think, I don't remember talking to that person, or I don't remember seeing you in the pub. but not a whole episode from where it was about a 2-hour episode of not getting home, or however long it was. All I remember was playing pool against these black guys, and that was it. I woke up. But all day there was something eating away at me inside, as if to say, oh, you were bad last night. Don't you remember doing that? I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm just going to sort of tease you with it and let you know that you're in trouble. Now, when I got home, I lived with, I used to live with my friend's brother, who was a sort of friend to me, but I was best pals with his brother more than him. And I kind of walked in the house and he was sitting in the living room watching something on the telly, and I ran upstairs, got changed, got showered, and came back downstairs smelling of roses, walked in the living room and I said, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? And he just took one look at me and he went, no. And I thought, shit. I said, what's the matter? And he looked at me and he went, do you not remember last night? And I said, no, what happened? And he proceeded to tell me this story about him and one of my other friends came home from a different night out. They were with a bunch of other people. And as they approached the front door, the door was open and they looked on the floor and there was me, half in the door, half out, stark bollock naked. Naked as the day I came out of my mother's, yeah. Now, straight away, as soon as he told me that, I was like, what? How did that happen? Where was I? Where was I going naked? What? I don't get it. And he also carried on. That wasn't the end of it. Him and my friend lifted me up as best they could, because you're a complete dead weight when you're drunk and asleep. And they were both struggling and they sort of propped me at the bottom of the stairs. And I apparently woke up, took one look at them both, cleared my nose and throat and spat on the floor. Which I know it's disgusting, but I don't remember any of this. And of course this was my mate's house. This was this guy's brother's house. And he was like, what the fuck are you doing? How dare you spit on my carpet? And I stood up and started shouting at him and threatening to punch him. And then as he walked into the house, all of a sudden there was like fish and chip shop chips everywhere, trod into the carpet, up the walls, in the kitchen, all over the sofa, and he was losing it. And I said, I haven't had anything to eat, you're accusing me of eating chips, this is bullshit. And then I walked upstairs, collapsed, passed out, and apparently started crying in my sleep asking for mummy. Mummy, I want my mummy. I don't remember this. I don't know how much of this is true, but this is apparently what they were telling me, and I suppose I've got to believe them. 2 different stories, 2 different people, completely away from each other. So I suppose it probably stands. Now, obviously, I tried to clear the air. I said, look, I'm really sorry. I don't remember any of this. And I sort of said to him, I was playing pool. Don't remember what happened. Next thing I know, I've got home. And he said to me, there's a probable chance that, if you were kicking these guys' ass and you were putting their drink next to them, then they probably slipped something in there. Therefore, you've obviously had a complete mind blank. You were drugged. But he said, why were you naked? And I said, I don't know. And I was looking for all my clothes from the night before and I couldn't find a single item of clothing, shoes, anything. Not even, I didn't used to take my wallet out, so I had my wallet anyway. All I had was my keys and that was it. No money, nothing. So of course I started to think, was I raped? Did these fucking hoods suddenly make me their prison bitch? I don't know. I just had no idea. I could not piece together anything. Nothing sort of came back to me. But obviously we cleared the air and next morning I got up for work, went to work and had a normal day. But this bothered me all day and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So en route on the way home, we used to have like a sexual health clinic. And I thought, I need to check in. I need to make sure that I haven't been ass-rid by Ice Cube and his fucking homies, I don't know what they've done to me. I need to find this out. I didn't feel like anything had happened, which was kind of curious because I've played football with black guys, I've showered with them and I've seen the kind of tools that they pack in their pants, and I thought I would definitely feel something, but it's just a peace of mind. So I went into this sexual health clinic, she checked me out, which was embarrassing. She was about 20 years old and quite tasty. And I had an AIDS test. She suggested I have an AIDS test, but she said it's all good, there's nothing happening down there, it doesn't look like you've had any interference, I think you're okay. So I went home, but still I thought, why was I naked? Now as I walked towards my house, I kind of walked down the road, had to walk past the pub that, the series of events had started off happening in. And I walked past this garden, and when you're walking down the road and you see somebody's glove on top of a hedge or a fence, and it's like, whose glove is that? Whose glove is that? Whose hat is that? Who does that belong to? And who's put it there thinking, oh, I'll leave it here because somebody will come back for this soaking wet, dirty glove that's been out in the elements for the last 3 days. But I noticed this sock, and I used to have these Armani socks, these Giorgio Armani socks, and it had the Armani symbol on there. And I just looked, it just struck me straight away. I saw the gold symbol and I thought, that's one of my socks. What the fuck? fuck? So I picked it up and I was looking around the garden, around the area, and all of a sudden this old guy came out and he started laughing at me and he says, wow, I didn't think I'd see you back here again. Have you come for your stuff? I went, what stuff? What do you mean? And he said, yeah, I kind of had a feeling you probably wouldn't remember anything about the other night. So bemused and confused, he proceeded to tell me this story about how he was casually sitting there watching telly and all of a sudden he could hear singing outside. So he went to the window, had a look, and I was in his garden, dancing around. I don't know how I was dancing, but he said I was just in there running around dancing. And as he opened the door and he says, well, can I help you? What's the matter? I apparently screamed at him at the top of my lungs, life is good. And then I started to do a striptease, and I stripped right down to my clothes, still dancing around, and apparently I was singing, I feel pretty, oh so pretty, I feel pretty and witty and gay. What the fuck? I've never in all my life felt so embarrassed as I did at that very moment in time, suddenly learning that I did a striptease and a fucking burlesque dance for an old age pensioner, and then proceeded to walk about half a mile home with no clothes on, just with my keys. But like a saint, he saw the funny side of it, he told me not to worry about it, he said it hadn't been burnt into the back of his retinas, and he forgave me. And then he came out with my clothes, which apart from the one sock that was on the hedge, everything had been washed and neatly pressed. This saint of a man whose garden I trespassed on and did this horrible strip dance for him. Thank God I didn't offer to sit on his lap and do anything worse. I don't remember this. It's awful. It's just the most awful thing to think that you can do these things and have no awareness of it. So yeah, that's the moral of the story. Don't leave your drinks next to the cast of Boys in the Hood, especially when you're embarrassing them in front of each other, killing them at pool. But it's all good, I'm over it now. Just thank God I wasn't raped and it was nothing worse than that. That's the way I had to look at it. Since then, I take my drink everywhere I go, unless I'm with trusted people. Thanks for watching, guys. Apocalypse done.